we are live, except for YouTube. I tried to set it up. There's some kind of a bug. So this video will load. This show is going to load onto YouTube, but not live tonight. From here on out, it should be. But when it does, for all you people on YouTube, welcome. So we always start with the question of the week because that gives people a chance to come in, get the notifications. And the question this week is, what is conscious shifting? Please explain and elaborate, etc. We've had a couple of those. So the easiest way to describe conscious shifting is just to put it this way. You're looking for something in life, or you wouldn't be here. So you know that something is missing, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for it. So you know that something is missing, but you can't really explain what it is or how you know. And religious and scientific explanations about life, as great as they may seem, still seem incomplete. Sometimes in a flash, you'll gain understanding on a much deeper level. Things that you thought you understood about self, others, life, even God, suddenly come into focus. And you realize that there's much more to all of this than you previously thought. And each time the sensation's the same. It's as if you've awakened from a dream to something that you've always known. And you have no explanation for this either. Because in truth, you didn't know. Or did you? And so you wonder, am I going crazy? You're not going crazy. You're not. What you're experiencing is the beginning stages of spiritual awakening. And you're ready, or this wouldn't be happening. The problem is something I call common consciousness. Thoughts, emotions, mental conditioning, and subconscious programming are standing in the way of clarity. Life's baggage has its hold on you. And this has nothing to do with intelligence. And while the solutions to the problems of mankind are spiritual, most people understand very little on a spiritual level. In fact, most people suffer from a severe case of spiritual amnesia. And spiritual amnesia is a condition which prevents you from realizing who and what you truly are, which is spirit, higher consciousness, conscious energy. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but basically we're talking about something that exists and yet has no form. So again, spiritual amnesia is a condition which prevents you from realizing who and what you are. And the sensations you're having are confirmation that on some level you do know. In essence, we're all spiritual beings. And as such, we're all having a spiritual experience. We're not capable of anything else. We can believe it to be something else, but that doesn't make it so. So awakening is a process of shifting from lower levels of consciousness into higher levels of consciousness, hence conscious shifting. I've been in your shoes, and I can help you unlock your innate knowledge. I've helped many others, and some of you have been following me for years. You're well aware of this. In truth, we're all just walking each other home. I teach spiritual consciousness, meditation, and self-healing. And people I've helped, they always ask me to find a way to help more people. And that's what conscious shifting is. I created conscious shifting to do just that. So we all face life challenges. I'm no different. You know, some of you that haven't known me for, the 62 years I've been on this planet, you only known me for the last few, you wouldn't know it. But I know what it's like to struggle financially. I do. And after years of struggle to finally make it, and then lose it all. I've been there. And I know what it's like to have a broken heart, to be emotionally crushed. I've been there. And I know what it's like to become physically disabled. And I've overcome this and a lot more. And I can tell you that it comes down to a matter of consciousness. Your level of consciousness determines your life experience and alters physical reality. Meditation is the foundational practice for stress reduction, healing, and higher consciousness. And higher consciousness helps people see through the nonsense and connect with spiritual source. So, if you want to improve your physical, mental, and spiritual health, influence the world in a positive way, live the life of your dreams, and create the ideal environment for spiritual awakening, then this is for you. Conscious shifting. So I invite you now to join me on your journey. Welcome to Conscious Shifting. And with that, let's see who we have in so far. I see Tina and Kathy and Irina, welcome. And Richard and Loretta. Hey, Loretta. Cheryl, love, laugh, and be happy in the house. David and Kim, of course. Susan. Welcome, everyone. And Susan's asking, is the book available tomorrow on Amazon? No, I had originally intended for it to go public on the 1st of September. Actually, it was supposed to be before that, but there's been delays. My editor couldn't get to it. He checks all my grammar and all that kind of stuff. He's done with it. I sent a copy out to the people that are on our launch team. But now the holdup is I'm waiting on the book cover designer to give me a file that I can upload to Amazon so that they can publish the book. That's the holdup. It should be real quick here, probably within the week. The first one's available, but the second one, the new one, I think is what you're talking about, will be probably in about a week. Hi, Nikki. Exactly. Hi, Tina. All right. Multitasking. Hi, Trey. Thank you, Cheryl. And you've been here since the beginning. Hi, Betsy. Betsy, I'm teaching fourth graders mindfulness and thought awareness. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. They're actually going to learn something of value by the time they graduate. That's incredible. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and mindfulness. There you go. No worries. Hey, Ray, how's it going? So Cheryl's got a copy of an advanced, the digital copy. She's on the launch team, and you have begun writing it. I see. Absolutely outstanding. Great timing on this new book. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that everybody gets a lot out of it. That's always my intent with the books, is to help pull innate knowledge out from within of each person that reads the book and start an advanced level of self-healing. All right, so let's get going here. Tonight's topic is how to create miracles. And why the banner's not up, I don't know. Let me get that up here. There we go. Somehow that disappeared. All right, so would you like to know how to create miracles in your life? And most of you probably going, yeah, I would. When you think of miracles, what comes to mind? That's a legit question, right? Do you believe in miracles, or do you believe that there's no such thing? And do you wish for miracles to happen, perhaps, but you don't really believe that they're going to happen for you? What if I told you that miracles not only happen, but that through higher consciousness, you actually create them? And furthermore, if I could help you understand how to create miracles, would you be interested? And if so, then continue listening, because that's what we're going to be talking about. And miracles really do happen all the time. And we're going to get into that. But let's start with just Wikipedia, because Wikipedia says that a miracle is an event that seems inexplicable by natural or scientific laws. So informally, a miracle is any beneficial event that is statistically unlikely, while formally, a miracle is impossible, and yet they happen. So either way, this leads people to conclude that some kind of divine intervention is involved. And so, then the question is, well, how do we view these things? And you can accept or reject that you have any influence over miracles, but you cannot honestly say that miracles never happen. For example, there's plenty of people, believe it or not, this has happened quite a few times, that have been known to survive falling thousands of feet in skydiving accidents when their parachute failed to deploy. Can you imagine? Now, does that 10,000 feet, does that seem like something that you'd live through? I don't think so. Not to mention that there's many very well documented cases of what they call sudden remission. In other words, you have a terminal patient, the doctors have given up, they say you got 3 months tops, and then they send them home with some pain pills or whatever, and suddenly it's just gone. They're gone. They're completely gone. They go on and live the rest of their life like they never had it. That seems impossible too, right? So at the very least, you'd have to say that these types of events have something extraordinary at work, right? Things that make you stop and say, are you sure about that? Because that doesn't really seem possible. And furthermore, there's endless examples that we could use of these sorts of things happening. And there's endless examples of things that are, according to science, scientifically impossible, beginning with both your existence and the universe that we're living in. Both statistically impossible. In fact, are you aware that for all practical purposes, an infinite number, all practical purposes, an infinite number, almost never-ending number of events, all of which are mathematically impossible, had to occur in order for us to be sitting here right now having this chat? Did you know that? Miracle. The fact that we're here and we're doing this is not just a miracle, millions of miracles. So how do miracles happen? Let me check and make sure I haven't missed any questions here. You already read it, Ray? Awesome. Susan says it was written for her. Good. That's what I want people to get out of it. Tina believes. Susan believes. Trey believes. Loretta believes. Hey, Sean, experienced it. There you go. Confirmation. Loretta experienced it. Kim, it's beyond amazing. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Hi, Josh. Hi, Jasper. Welcome. So, how do miracles happen? Ask anyone who's ever witnessed a miracle and then just simply listen. And if you're open-minded about it, you'll sense the energy of the miracle coming through. It's an unmistakable feeling. Once you've experienced it, you won't forget it, and you'll recognize it when it happens again. And so the best way I can describe it is if you just talk to somebody who's witnessed a miracle and you let them explain, you'll feel the energy coming through them of the miracle. And that's really what miracles are. They're divine energy flowing into this reality. And therefore, miracles are possible through higher consciousness because higher consciousness connects you to the divine. It's one of the reasons we meditate, is to connect to spiritual source. And as you transcend levels of consciousness, you'll be tested. This is where it gets a little bit dicey, right? And a life well lived means passing these tests. So passing these tests will result in extraordinary life changes that you previously thought were impossible, hence miracles. And on occasion and when appropriate, I use my own actual life experiences to illustrate the point. Usually not what we do here, but sometimes it fits because there's things that actually happened. I can tell them firsthand, and it's not gossip. It's not, I didn't hear it from somebody else or read it somewhere. And so any questions you have about any detail or aspect of it, I can answer. So let me give you 3 examples from my personal life. Back in the number 1, let me make sure I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. Cheryl believes and has experienced them too. Hi, Katja. Tina as well. Kim, we miss a lot more miracles than we witness due to being distracted. That is so true. So true. Okay, so here we go. Example 1. Back in the early 80s, I moved, born and raised in San Diego. I moved to Tucson, Arizona with big plans. And didn't take very long. Young, all my plans fell through. And I suddenly found myself in an unfamiliar city, broke and homeless. Yeah, it was fun. And at that point, it would have been extremely easy to lose my spiritual center. But that's exactly the point. I didn't. And that's what I want you to understand as I go through these. It's all about being spiritually centered and not letting something, life, whatever, knock you off your spiritual center. So there I am. I'm broke. I'm homeless. I don't know anybody. Never been there before. And everything that I thought was going to happen, none of it did. And so I'm walking around because 1, the truck was broke. 2, I didn't have any gas money. And I noticed that there was this small duplex boarded up in the back of this property. So I found out who the property manager was and I made him a deal. And that's what I used to do, was rehab stuff, restoration construction. So I met with him and I told him if he would allow me to live there rent free for 3 months and give me a line of credit at the local hardware store, that I would fix up both halves of this duplex. And then after 3 months, I would either start paying him the going rate for rent on the property or I would move out. But either way, he would have 2 rentable units from that point on. And he agreed. And so I had a place to live. Now, you might say, well, that's, not necessarily a miracle. Well, if you're in a town where you don't know where you are and you don't know anybody and you don't have any money and you have nothing, no place to live, trust me, that's a miracle that you could just pull that out of thin air like that. And so, and now I'm working on this place and trying to get it fixed up, but I don't have any money and it costs money to eat, right? And most of us need to eat at least occasionally. So I started a janitorial business in the evenings. That way I could still work on the property. So now I had income. I didn't have any of the stuff to do it. Didn't have any money backing me, but where there's a will, there's a way. All right. And I got started and did a good job. And, it just kind of blossomed from there. But the most amazing thing that happened to me was actually at a Burger King drive-up window. And I met Kim, and although I wasn't clear on the details, I instantly had an overwhelming sensation that somehow she was in my future. And although I had absolutely no intention at that point of getting involved with anyone at any time in the foreseeable future, my intuition was on point because she's been my wife for almost 36 years. Nothing went according to plan. Nothing. It couldn't have been a bigger disaster, but the results speak for themselves. And I could have let, fear get the best of me. I could have got depressed, and who knows what would have happened if that's what I would have done. But by holding my spiritual center out of disaster, I created miracles. Based on my level of consciousness, what happened was I attracted opportunities and then I acted on them. So in 1 week, I went from broke, unemployed, and homeless to having a home and a business. That's pretty good, right? That's a miracle. But Kim actually turned out to be the biggest and most unexpected miracle of my life. And it's funny how things work out, because that wasn't even on the radar. In fact, it was exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. I told myself, nope, 3 years, 5 years, I don't know when, but not now. No way, no how. And then somehow that into that same week, I went from single with no, and that was with no intentions of being with anyone for years to come. And then I end up meeting the person who's been my life partner for 36 years. So that's what happens when you hold spiritual center, when all hell's breaking loose. You can't allow yourself to get distracted. You can't allow yourself to fall into fear and depression, because you won't only go nowhere. It's not that you won't go anywhere. You'll spiral further down. So you have to hold your center and just know that everything going on, there's a reason behind it. And it's the tests in life to give you the opportunity to become who you're going to become. But in order to pass those tests, you have to hold your spiritual center. You hold your level of consciousness. You don't slide down into the gutter. And then the result is miracles. That's how it works. Okay, let me check questions here. Yes. Did you feel anything there, Tina? It's going to get better. I got 2 more. Well, Nikki, what I can tell you is I trust me, I feel you on that. And without, I could spend all night on that one. But just hold your spiritual center. No matter what's going on, you always have the opportunity to be the highest version of yourself. And don't worry about anybody else. And wherever the chips fall, they fall. It doesn't even, it's non-issue with me at this point in my life. I don't care what's going on. I know who I am, and I do what I'm going to do. And it doesn't matter the people and circumstances around me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything at all. I've learned a long time ago just to hold spiritual center. Ask for divine guidance if you're confused about the situation. But by maintaining that, you'll see opportunities to some. It's not that you can control everything, because you can't. But you control what's going on in here, and as an extension of that, it will start improving the circumstances around you, no matter who's involved. Even the G-men. Life forced a leap of faith, Betsy says. Isn't that interesting? Yes, indeed. Yeah. You guys like this, huh? Betsy, God sent the bolt of lightning over a whopper. That's funny. And on point, too. It's so true. So true. Those of you that know her, you know. Fear is just that. It's all in here. And it's like being in the dark. And you can imagine, the boogeyman under the bed or the monster in the closet, shadow figures. You can imagine all kinds of stuff in the dark. But see, that's just it. It's something that you're imagining. What do? You turn on the light, and then everything looks different. That's what I mean by spirituality. Just hold that light. Hold that light. Don't identify with things of this world. You can live in this world without becoming it. It's like what Jesus said, I am in this world, but I am not of this world. That's what he was talking about. Yeah, we're here. We got to play the game of life. But that's all it is. It's a game, a temporary game at that. Our soul is the constant in the situation. And the more we identify with that, the less attached and affected by all of this we are. I love in the drive-through. I did. It's unreal. And she did. She laughed at me. I still remember. I looked up her and she went, ha ha, the way she does. I'll have a burger, fries, and you. Damn. Yep. So Trey, you've been there, All right, so let's go to example number 2. And by this time, I had things going on. But sometimes the lessons come and they're pretty harsh, So during the Great Recession of 2008 to 11, I lost just about everything. Yeah, and not because I did anything wrong, not because I did anything risky. It was just a perfect storm. The business I was in, my investments, everything went to, right? So my business, my savings, my retirement, even the home that Kim and I raised our 4 sons in, lost all of it. And on top of that, at that time, the tensions were getting pretty rough between me and Kim. My marriage was on thin ice. And so with all this other stuff going on, I mean, it's just like, it feels like Armageddon when you're good. This was a dark night of the soul for me. All right. This was one of my dark nights of the soul. We'll talk about that some night, exactly what that is. But in a nutshell, it's when everything goes wrong. It's not just one thing, it's everything. And it is dark. That's why we call it the dark night of the soul. It's like a major test of faith. It's like the final exam. There's all your little tests that you go through, and then there's the final exam. This was a final exam for me. So as if all that wasn't enough, I was rear-ended in a traffic accident, and it just shattered my lower spine. So I had extensive spinal damage, and it required the work of a top-rate spinal surgeon. And he was a great guy, really fantastic surgeon, one of the top 50 in the world for this kind of stuff. And he was able to repair and stabilize my spine, but I was left with nerve damage causing severe pain, muscle spasms, and partial paralysis. And the general prognosis was that this was permanent and that I was going to require the use of a cane for the rest of my life, among all this other stuff. So once again, here I am. I just lost my house, my savings, my retirement, my business, and now I'm partially paralyzed. I can barely walk. Once again, it would have been extremely easy to lose my spiritual center. I mean, to stay upbeat and positive with all that going on. The stress was so bad that even with my strong beliefs that somehow it was going to work out, that I would find a way, that it was in the works already. Even with all of that, the Red Cross, I used to donate blood every month. The Red Cross quit taking it because they thought I was going to have a heart attack. They wanted to actually drive me to the emergency room because they didn't think I would make it. That's how bad my vitals were. And it was because of the stress of all of this. And so, but that's just it. I didn't lose my spiritual center. That's the point. I said, no, this is my test and it's a doozy. But I know what's going on. And I know that there's ultimately a great reason why all of this is happening. And I'm going to find out what that is. And so we had to make a decision. I mean, the home was gone that we lived in, along with all my investment properties, everything. So we ended up moving out to a small desert community on the outskirts of San Diego, out in the desert. That's how we got out here. And I just wanted out of the city. I didn't want to deal with, it was already becoming, all the city problems. And I didn't want that. And then after all this, I was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this. So we moved out to this little community. There's about 1,500 full-timers here. There's some people that come in for the winters, about doubles our population. They own homes here, but the full-timers, there's only about 1,500 people here. And so after a lot of self-healing, I mean, beyond what all the doctors and surgeons did for me, there was a lot of self-healing. And now I'm able to walk almost normal. Most people don't know that I'm partially paralyzed. And that's without a cane. I don't walk around with a cane. I do a lot of walking, in fact, several miles a day without a cane. And I also manage my pain without constant medication. With that too, but without constant medication. And I'm still self-healing. My goal is 100%. Now, the medical professionals think I'm a miracle. They don't know how to explain what's happened. And I tell them, yes, I am a walking miracle. I own it. And then, because of my spinal situation, even after the surgery, construction is really not, I'm not the best equipped person for that anymore. So I started a new business that I seem to be able to do fine with my disabilities, and it's thriving. The business is thriving. It took a little while. This was a lot to come back from. But now we own 30 acres in the desert with fantastic views, a very spiritual place, by the way. And there's no mortgage. I mean, I own it outright. So, and Kim and I, we ended up falling in love all over again. And we've got a stronger spiritual bond than we've ever had. So trust me, when I tell you that if you'd been there to see all this with your own eyes, that you would call it a series of unbelievable and impossible miracles. And it even leaves the neurosurgeons dumbfounded. They can't explain it. So again, remain spiritually centered and trust your intuition. See if I've got any questions I missed. The desert experience, indeed. Hi, Shelby. Yeah, I know the test, when you're going through it, it's not really a good time at all. But you just have to know what it is, what's going on, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And the point is to get to the light at the end of the tunnel, not turn around and go back, not stop where you are. Go all the way. That's the thing. You got to go all the way, all in, 100%. Hi, Vidya. See, Trey, you didn't know, huh? Most people don't. There you go. There you go, Shelby. Confirmation. It happens. It happens a lot. I'll do the third one. We have time. So example 3, we're going to kick this up a little bit because this third example was recent, which kind of shocked me because, I believe that create your reality, you manifest everything in your life. And so this one really kind of surprised me. But this is moves from life circumstances to life itself. And I'm talking about cancer. So in the fall of 2019, my intuition, and this is why you got to listen to it. My intuition told me to go get a physical, and specifically a PSA test. So for those of you that don't know, a PSA test is they draw blood and they test your blood and they give you a baseline number, and it's related to a man's prostate so that they get that baseline, and then from year to year they can tell if something's going on, because men, if they live long enough, are going to get prostate cancer, but it's usually much later in life. Now, I've never been one for medical checkups and physicals and all that kind of stuff. I just kind of roll with it, and I've never had any problems. I let my immune system handle whatever I come into contact with. But like I said, my intuition was telling me that I needed to go, so I did. I don't argue with spirit. I learned that a long time ago too. You just get out of the way and do what you're told, so to speak. Spirit knows best. So sure enough, they do this physical. They tested for everything under the sun, and everything was perfect except the PSA, and that was quite high. And so, to cut to the quick, although I was young and without any symptoms whatsoever or family history, the bottom line was I had prostate cancer. And after seeing a lot of different experts with a lot of different treatment options, my intuition told me that I needed to get my prostate removed. Now, I'm not big on surgery, especially after everything with my back. But again, I found a surgeon. He was a top-notch surgeon. He did the spirit tells you, just listen. He does that robotic surgery. It's what they call a radical prostatectomy. And at that time, they were currently booking for April, which was still 5 months away. And my intuition was telling me, no, do it now. And so I pushed my surgeon, and the thing is, they have to have the room at the hospital with the robot. There's like a 20-something person team of specialists that all have to be available. So he checked, and they had one date available. It was December 23rd. And so I told him that's what I wanted for Christmas, and he delivered. That's how that went. Now, another interesting thing, though, is that after the surgery, they sent my prostate to the lab to be biopsied. Now, I'd already had one while it was in, but once they got it out, they've got the whole thing sitting there, and they can really, really look at it. And you know what? My cancer was far more aggressive than what the original biopsy showed. And in fact, the cancer was close to breaking through in 2 different places of the prostate wall. So had I not listened to my intuition first, and by intuition, I mean spirit. That's what I'm talking about. It's however you want to see it, the Great Spirit talks to us, how God talks to us is through intuition. So it's a good thing to learn what your intuition is. But had I not listened to my intuition first to get a PSA and then to immediately have the surgery, the outcome would have been very different indeed. So again, remain spiritually centered and trust your intuition. Trust what guidance is coming to you from that place deep within. Let's see if I missed any questions. Vidya says suffering is for spiritual growth. One has to survive. That's the big challenge. Indeed. Tina says, after hearing your stories, I'm realizing my miracles. There you go. Nikki, it's within you. When we do the healing circle tonight, stick around. And then the way we begin it, just sitting there, I'll go through some basic things, reminders, and just sit there and observe your thoughts and emotions. Start doing that every day. Whatever you can do, a minute, 5 minutes, try to get up to 15 or 20 if you can, but whatever you can do, it's more important that you do it every day. Find that place within yourself, find that calm place, and you'll find the light. It's within you. It's all this shit that's going on out here that's distracting you from the truth of who and what you are. And so you have to go within and find that place, and then eventually learn to bring it out into the world and all that you do. It's not just for meditation, but it's actually the way. If you've ever heard, martial artists or, some of your Taoists and Buddhists talk about the way, that's basically what they're referring to. It's like saying, let the Great Spirit guide you, or rest in spirit. It's like that. Not sometimes people get the wrong idea. I'm not talking about ghosts and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about a higher being that we're all a part of. In fact, all of us together make it up. Consciousness, in other words, supreme consciousness. Joey, God asked me, do you want to step off the squeaky hamster wheel of fear? I said yes. Awesome. Yes, Trey says we all have miracles when we see with spiritual eyes. Exactly. Exactly. Wow, that's harsh, Nikki. That's harsh. And I, without getting into all the details of that, I wouldn't. Wow. Again though, it's hold your spiritual center. It doesn't matter, what is going on. Some people think that, oh well, this one's really bad, or like my son's being trafficked, or I have cancer, or wars breaking out, or whatever. Those are horrible, horrible things, but it doesn't change the solution. The solution is to, best as you can, not become it, but remain who you are. And then from that place, do what you can. And some things that you can't control, you just have to let go. There's just some things that are like that. But trust me when I say that you find that light, you'll find opportunities and solutions that you wouldn't have otherwise recognized. Everything I've done has turned out to be like that. Everything. The only time I really ever get into trouble is when I don't pay attention to what, the divine is telling me, and my ego gets in the way. And you'll know, because it's fear and greed and shame and grief and anger. All those negative emotions are ego. And ego is of this world. In fact, it's a total identification with this world, to the point that it believes that, and will convince you to believe that you are separated from God and all of us. We're all one spiritual being. There's this game going on, and the illusion is kind of like a nightmare at times, but you just hold that truth. Well, spirit's strong. I don't know. I might have caved without it, probably. Shelby, the creator is all within. Yes. All right. So let's wrap this up, and then we'll move on to the healing circle. So I talk about passing tests because that's how I've come to understand miracles. And, some of this won't make sense to you in this lifetime. Some of it has to do with things that we come here to do, to work on, You could call it karma, consequences of past lifetimes or whatever. There's lessons in all of this. And we come here to do this, all of us, no matter, how things work out. On some level, we actually came here to do this. So it's okay. You have to know that. Not always fun. It doesn't always seem right. It's not always fair or just or any of that stuff. But in the end, it serves a purpose. And that purpose is for you to become yourself, for you to become a higher version of yourself, and eventually to become yourself. Not even become yourself, just realize it. You're already it. There's nothing that can be added to you. It's all of your false beliefs that are causing the problems. And that's what ego does, because from ego's point of view, it's a viewpoint of this physical realm in which we live, where there's time and space, and I'm me and you're you, and I'm over here and you're over there, and there's us and them. And you see how this gets started? All of a sudden we're at war because spiritual amnesia. We've forgotten that we're all of one spirit. And the whole point of coming here is to express that in entirety, which means that there's a lot that has to be expressed. And starting from the bottom up, some of this is horrific. But that's how I kind of frame it, because it's, we have schools, we're conditioned to that kind of thing, and tests to pass the class and all that. So it's easy to use as a metaphor. Passing tests is one way to understand miracles. And rather than acting out of fear, you hold your spiritual center. And that's how you pass the tests. And the result is miracles. Things will happen that don't seem possible. So rather than try to control everything, all you need to do is just flow with spirit. Let spirit guide you. On a spiritual level, there's nothing to fear. You're an immortal spiritual being. And nothing that goes on here is going to change who you are or that fact. Nothing. So once you let go of fear, things get a whole lot easier. And you see things a lot more clearly. So am I the same, as I was before all of this happened? No, not at all. But we never are. We're never really the same after we go through something, right? I mean, that's life. We're forever changed. One thing you can say about this realm is that things are always changing. They're always in a state of change. Even when they seem like they're not, they are. The only thing that remains constant is spirit. It always is what it is. Always has been, always will be. And, when I look back on it and I look at what's going on now, I can honestly say that even with the suffering and the disability and everything that I lost, I'm far better off now than I've ever been. That's the truth. I've reached states of consciousness, for example, that I never would have reached otherwise. And now I understand. Now I understand why I went through all of that. And that's really what it's all about, spiritual awakening, realizing who and what you are. And better yet, mastering spirituality by manifesting your spiritual essence while in human form. Oh yeah, that's the gravy right there. That's the purpose of life on earth. Spirit doesn't see miracles as a big deal. It's just the natural state of things from a spiritual perspective. Miracles, that is. Everything's a miracle. There's nothing but. There's the miracles, and then there's the consequences of lower consciousness. And we're good at that, aren't we? So spiritual consciousness and miracles are interdependent. And that miracles are the result of consciousness guided by spirit. I call it intuition. Trust it. So going back to something that Albert Einstein once said, he said there's two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. That was Albert Einstein. So without miracles, I'd be living on disability and pain pills. I'd still walk like Frankenstein. Most likely, I'd be broken, poor, and miserable. And I'd be dying from cancer. Without miracles, that's would be what's going on right now, not what's going on right here, right now. So instead, I create miracles, and so can you. In fact, someday you'll realize what I've realized, and that is that if you listen to Spirit, you awaken in each and every moment. And as you do, you realize that each and every moment is a miracle. So that's it for creating miracles. Let's move on to a healing circle unless there's some last minute questions. No, you like the book? And is that Susan? And Shelby says ego isn't good or bad. It just isn't the highest. No, it's just a means of seeing, and you have to have it. You couldn't navigate time and space without it. You couldn't live in a three-dimensional physical realm without a viewpoint to do so. And that's really all the ego is. It's only a problem when you identify with it. And then it becomes a real problem, a real big problem. As long as you realize that you're a spiritual being and you're experiencing life through a physical body in an illusionary physical world, everything's fine. But when you start thinking that this is reality and that this mind body is who you are, then you start to have these problems. Hi, Mary. Kim says that she's experienced a couple of miracles where time seems to stop in that moment. Kind of strange realizing afterwards. A lot of times it's like that. It does seem as if time has stopped. We can talk about that sometime because that's real interesting, but it does happen that way a lot. Right on, Mary. You're welcome, Trey. Lydia says that ego or mind knows, oops, I covered up the knows duality. Mind doesn't know what is beyond mind. Exactly. No bad news in the good news. Kim says that spirit's a lot like truth. I think the difference is that spirit grows consciously. Truth is always the same. Yeah, truth is what it is. Ultimate truth never changes. That's how you know it's the truth. If it changes, then it's not really the truth. It's maybe a partial truth or a misperception, maybe a flat out lie, but the truth never changes. No, I wasn't having it. The doctor looked at me when I said, "You don't know me. I'm not going to be like this the rest of my life." My surgeon actually encouraged me. It was everybody else that I saw that was like, "Nope, there's no way." But the surgeon knew me a little bit better. He'd spent some time with me, and he saw how I was in the hospital right after the surgery. I mean, I just had major back surgery. The first thing I did was start screaming, "I want to walk." And I made him get physical therapy down there, and it was painful. God, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but I walked with a walker and the whole IV and the physical aids on both sides, but I did it. I walked out the door to the nurse's station and back, and then I slept for about 4 or 5 hours, and I kept doing that. I kept getting up, and 4 days of that, I was doing laps around the nurse's station, the walker and the gown and the IV. It was ridiculous, but I did it, And so my surgeon was like, "You know what? You might be the guy." There you go, Susan. Not going to be that elephant chained to the pole. Yep, I can tell you read it. Awesome. All right, so let's move on. Let me get this banner up here. This one. Okay, so Nikki, we'll start with some reminders. And then we're going to go on and do something a little bit different, but every day for a minute, 5 minutes, build it up to as much as you can, 15, 20, even 30. Start out though with something that you can handle and something that you'll do every day, preferably at the same time, 6 in the morning, whatever. But do this, and over time, I mean, you'll start feeling better. You'll be surprised, and you'll know because even after a few weeks or a few months, if you quit, you'll start feeling crappy again. So, and you'll go, oh, wow, I was really getting a lot more out of that than I thought. So here we go. Everybody gather around, nice, comfortable, upright position and join hands. So we do a nice, comfortable, upright position. You want the spine erect, but not overdoing it. Feet flat on the ground, eyes and mouths gently closed. It's almost like if somebody took a string that was running through your spine, right through the top of your head, and just gave it a slight tug. So it's not stressful, but you sit upright. And then you stay alert. Maybe your eyes up to about where your eyebrows are. But you're breathing through the nose down into the lower abdomen, just below the belly button. And then exhale back out through the nose. Everybody in, holding hands. Hence the healing circle. All right, so breathe in through the nose, down to that lower energy center, and then back out the nose. And another deep breath. Breathe in the peace. And exhale tension. And again, breathe in peace. And exhale all troublesome thoughts, all pain, all disease, all stress. Breathe in the peace. And exhale tension. Okay, settle into the relaxation. Continue breathing on your own, but settle into the relaxation and then move inward. Let the outer world go for a while. Move into your body and notice any sensations of the body. And simply observe without judgment. We're not trying to say that's good, that's bad. Just notice them and leave them alone. They're merely sensations of the body. And then notice any sensations of the mind. Observe thoughts and emotions rather than be thoughts and emotions. Observe them without judgment. They're merely sensations of the mind. So move further inward. Still the body, still the mind, and release any remaining tension. Let go of any remaining stress. Stop all resistance to this moment. You are safe. Trust what you're experiencing. Completely let go. And allow your natural energy to build. With each breath, feel your energy building. And with each breath, let your life force disperse all negativity. See your inner being. See your inner being glowing. See your inner being glowing brighter and brighter and brighter. And now you are identified with your inner self, your true essence, spirit, beyond mind, body, pure conscious energy, part of the cosmic mind, the great spirit. And as such, you have access to all knowledge. Divine guidance is within you because you are it. Let's just sit with that for about a minute. Okay. Now, before we close, let's place Mary and Susan and Angie and Deanna in the healing circle. Just visualize them sitting there. Now, let's take this divine energy and concentrate it into the center of the circle, into their heart centers. Let's keep focusing the energy there, the healing energy. You can visualize it if you want to visualize it as bright light that we're projecting into their heart centers. And see their heart centers start to glow of this brilliant light. Like deep within them, and Nikki in there too. Deep within them, the light. And we're focusing on that light and projecting light into it so that the light is reacting with the light and getting stronger and expanding. And as it does, pushing the darkness out, pushing out any disease, pushing out any tension, any stress. This could be physical or mental. To see this light expanding, keep focusing it on them, keep projecting it their way, see the light expanding beyond their heart center, out into their body, and dispersing all toxic energy. See the light expanding and completely filling them up until there's nothing but light. No toxic energy, nothing dark, nothing but light. And now bring the light out beyond them and fill the entire center of the healing circle with this healing energy, this bright light. And so it is. Okay, slowly open your eyes. And if there's any last minute questions, place them in the comment box. And then we will call it a night. Why does that keep going away? There we go. Okay. Let's see. You like that, huh, David? Good. Vidya says, yes, we have to know who we are. That's the real purpose. Human being, exactly. We're here to express supreme consciousness because that's what we are. It's what we came here to do. I am pulled over. It's probably a good idea. Yeah, I was thinking about putting some of this on podcast, but I'm worried about some trucker falling asleep during the healing circle. I mean, the idea is remain awake, but man, you get people relaxed, they can doze. It happens. There you go, Mary. You were included. Japanese, that's not an easy language to learn. You will, Mary. Trust me, I've been there. Know that you will. Hi, Billy. Good. You're quite welcome, all of you. And you as well. Thank you, Cheryl. Kim's reminding everybody to drink a glass of water. You want to stay hydrated when you do energy work. Thank you, Katja. Trey. Trey says she had a warmth in her solar plexus. Good. Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. That's it for this week. I honor the God within you. And remember, until the next time, the only way to bring about the greater good is to be the greater good. Good night.